This is Rob Temple for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined here today at the Anthony Joshua-Alexander-Povetkin weigh-in by Eddie Hearn. How are you, Eddie?
Very well, Rob. Yourself?
I'm very well too, very well. Nice to see you again.
And to see you too, Rob.
Why are you speaking so much into the microphone?
I don't know, Rob.
So here we are, Anthony Joshua-Alexander-Povetkin weigh-in. Tell me a little bit about the main event, Eddie.
I'm a bit worried, to be honest with you. I was just speaking to someone over there who went, I've had a lot of money on Povetkin, and it was a Brit. I was like, all right, mate, steady. I think this is a really, really high quality heavyweight matchup. Number 1 against number 3 in the Ring magazine. Obviously Povetkin's number 1 with the WBA mandatory, number 1 with the WBO as well. He's extremely well schooled. He's a lot more, has a lot more ring time as a pro and amateur as Anthony Joshua. I mean, it's a tough fight. I'm hoping that Joshua's speed and power can see him through, but I expect some eerie moments at the National Stadium in front of 80,000 people on Saturday.
Now, why do you think that certain people are sort of deriding this as a bit of a walkover job for Anthony Joshua? Why do you think people are saying that?
I just think they're the people that aren't to understand the quality of Povetkin, you need to know your boxing, and you need to have watched Povetkin and seen him perform. So I think those people that just presume it's an Anthony Joshua walkover are the guys who haven't seen him. Oh, Povetkin, I've never even heard of him. This is an easy fight. Anyone in boxing, you speak to the people, well, everyone here today, because I think to come to these events you're a hardcore boxing fan, they all know this is a high quality matchup, and it is a very, very tough fight.
Now, you mentioned that people haven't seen him before. Obviously the last time we saw Povetkin in the ring was against David Price. Do you think people are reading too much into the fact that he got wobbled by Price?
Anyone can get wobbled by Price. Price is the hardest punching heavyweight on the planet, and I include Wilder, I include everybody in that, and he's just walked past as well. That was good, Simon. And if you look back at that wobble, if you like, he was ready to fight. It wasn't like his legs were gone and he couldn't stand up. He was badly hurt, but he would have been swinging. And Price can hurt anyone. So I think AJ can hurt Povetkin and Povetkin can hurt AJ. So he's just got to stay smart. But I think also there's the pressure to put in a performance, So it's like the right thing to do for AJ is probably get behind a jab, box smart, look for openings. But we live in a world where the crowd want blood. And they want that old reckless style, if you like, of AJ to come back a little bit. But he can show signs of that, but he must also be smart at this level.
That's something I actually spoke to Anthony about yesterday at the press conference. His last fight against Joseph Parker dominated the fight, keeping it long, but it wasn't the KO show that we've grown accustomed to seeing from Joshua. Do you think there's any added pressure with the Wilder Fury stuff going on in the background for AJ to produce a big performance against Povetkin?
Probably, yeah, I do. And I think he wants to as well. It's not like he's got to do it for the fans. He wants to put in a great performance, but he also wants to show technical ability as well. Before the Parker fight, people said, Joshua can't go 12 rounds, he can't outbox people, and he did that, and then people said, it was a bit boring, so you can't really win. The aim of boxing is to hit and not get hit, but we all know what the fans want. They want excitement and they want blood, and you do get that with Anthony Joshua, and you will get that in a Povetkin fight tomorrow night.
Just staying with the main event, I mean, it seems ridiculous to even mention this considering how packed out it is today. There's been some talk of the fight not selling out at Wembley Stadium. Is there tickets still available? Has the fight sold out?
Tickets are still available. We've done 80,000 tickets so far. Unfortunately, we can't sell the coach package tickets because we're restricted by the council, and they haven't sold. They've probably only sold 30% of 15,000. So we've probably got 2,000 tickets left, the general sale. Yesterday we sold 700 tickets in one day. So they'll probably go. We will have 80,000 plus at the National Stadium. So obviously you're going to get people who try to poo-poo the event. The current pay-per-view is tracking at the highest ever pay-per-view in British boxing history. And it's Povetkin, which is a great fight, but obviously it's not Vladimir Klitschko. It shows you the size of Anthony Joshua and the state of British boxing that Joshua-Povetkin is set to break pay-per-view records. So we're in a great place. It's going to be an incredible night, great card as well. And I'm excited, very nervous, because there's a lot at stake, as always, when AJ fights.
So it's nothing to do with the fact that the tickets haven't sold because of the opponent, it's just coach packages and such like?
No, tickets, I mean, there's still general sale tickets. So if you're asking why they haven't sold out, maybe not a lot of people have heard of Povetkin, maybe people are waiting for the April fight, maybe it was because they were on sale over summer and people are waiting, now they're going crazy these last couple of weeks. But to sell 80,000 tickets, I mean, it's like someone says, I heard the tickets are struggling, you've only done 80,000. I was like, I don't think that sentence makes sense. So you'll see tomorrow night, it's going to be epic.
Staying with that April date, heavily rumoured fight will be Dillian Whyte, although we are waiting potentially for announcement for Dillian Whyte versus Chisora. Is that fight expected to be announced anytime soon?
It's not done yet, the deal, so at the moment that fight's not happening, but it looks like that fight hopefully will happen on December 22nd. I met with Amir yesterday. There's a lot going on with Pacquiao and Brook, and so I think the next week or so we're going to really pull the bones out of Brook, Khan, Pacquiao, and also the Dillian Whyte-Chisora fight. We have actually heard back from Shirley Winkle now. Didn't really give us much info, but we are going to make them a new offer because they've now gone back on their acceptance of the first offer, and we looked for a meet with them in early October to try and get an April fight made. That is our absolute priority, and we will do everything we can to make the Wilder fight for April if Joshua is successful tomorrow night.
Talk to me about December. The schedule seems to be a little bit, there's a lot of rumours going on at the Mayweather-Pacquiao. I think I saw something about Canelo returning to the ring in December. Can you decipher which one of those are true and which one of those may be a publicity stunt?
Yeah, I don't think Mayweather-Pacquiao will happen, and I don't think Canelo will box this year. But obviously you do have a potential Fury-Wilder matchup. You do have a potential Whyte-Chisora, Brook Khan, Frampton-Warrington. Lomachenko's fighting on December the 8th. So, but that's boxing nowadays. When people say to me, you've got a show on the same night as someone, mate, we do. With our deals coming up, we're going to be doing over 50 shows a year. We're going to be clashing with ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So, which we are on October 27th. So, it's just that's where boxing's at right now.
Staying with the heavyweight division, we saw recently Manuel failed a doping test for his long schedule bout with Quendo. Just tell me a little bit about that.
I don't know too much about it. I probably know about as much as you know. But I do know that Jarrell Miller is mandatory for the winner of that fight. So I expect now the WBA, once they've done their investigations, to make Jarrell Miller against Quendo for the WBA regular title.
WBA regular title has also been linked to be on the line or potentially be on the line for Whyte-Chisora. Is that something that you're looking at?
No.
Okay, elsewhere on the card, Askin versus Lawrence Okolie. Great fight. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the mechanics of that fight.
I have to be honest, I thought he should have another fight before he took this fight. But I did think he should have had another fight before the Watkins fight, and he won that easy. So, it's a great clash of styles between someone who has so much confidence and hits so hard in Lawrence Okolie, and someone who's really well schooled in Askin, who's having a great run in his career. I think we'd all agree Askin is above British level. He's probably European level. He could challenge for a world title. I don't think he'd win one, but he's a quality fighter. So I'm intrigued to see this fight. I actually think Askin's the favourite. Bookies don't agree with me, but Lawrence is so raw, but he hits so hard. It's going to be a really interesting fight.
With Lawrence going at the rate that he's going at, sort of blowing his way through domestic scene, obviously you mentioned Askin is probably above domestic scene. There's quite a big gulf from sort of the British or domestic cruiserweight level to world level. Where would you look to match the winner of that fight, should it be Lawrence Okolie?
It's very interesting at the moment. Obviously you've got Usyk against Bellew in an undisputed fight, and after that fight I think that both fighters will, Bellew I think would retire if he won, and Usyk would move up to heavyweight if he won. So I think all those belts are going to become vacant. So even Okolie against Askin, I'm not saying, if Askin was to win, I wouldn't rule out him fighting for a world title next. For Lawrence, I think he'd need a couple more, but then again, if he beat Askin, so I think the timing wise, if Lawrence can get another fight this year after Saturday, if he's triumphant, he could be in the mix for a world title in the spring of next year. That's what he wants. He wants to win it real quick. So I think once they've all become vacant, they're all in play.
Just a word on that Usyk-Bellew fight. Being a boxing fan, very, very excited to see Alexander Usyk on these shores. Tell me a little bit about that fight. It seems to me, if I was promoting Tony Bellew, I probably wouldn't want him to fight Alexander Usyk, but Tony Bellew sort of dances to his own tune, as it were. Tell me about that fight.
It's not, I probably would have thought he should retire after the Hay fight, but Tony wants to be a great. He wants to go. He's made his money, but he wants to go down with legacy to say you're a pound for pound great. And if he beats Usyk, he goes down as an undisputed cruiserweight world champion, one of the greatest British fighters of all time, and a pound for pound great in the sport. And that turns Tony Bellew on. And I understand why. And it's an ultimate challenge. The bookies give him no chance. They gave him no chance in the Hay first fight. But we'll see. I think you can't rule Tony Bellew out of this fight. Press conference is on Monday. It's going to be an amazing occasion. Tickets are going to sell out ultra fast. It's the first ever 4-belt undisputed fight ever in British boxing history.
Some rumours that Usyk and Lomachenko will be in attendance tomorrow night. Can you confirm that?
I can confirm that.
You sought me out an interview with Usyk?
I am very Phil.
Is Alexander Usyk now your best fighter in your stable?
Well, you know, he's the undisputed champ, so it's a difficult one because obviously we're working with K2 on it. My heart in this fight is 100% behind Bellew, but it is an honour to be representing the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world.
Didn't answer the question.
Is he the best fighter in my stable? On paper, probably.
Should Usyk win that fight, is a move to heavyweight inevitable?
Absolutely.
Elsewhere on this card, David Price, you've just mentioned him, faces Sergei Kuzmin. He's promised a 4-round firefight. Is that all we can expect?
I think David Price is the hardest punching heavyweight out there, and if he hits you on the chin, it's over. If he hits Kuzmin on the chin, it's over, and mate, the place will go nuts. I would love him to force his way back on the scene, but he is stepping up in these levels like every time. Povetkin, Kuzmin, I mean, he's not exactly having easy touches, so to lose in these fights, it's no disgrace. I think it's a brilliant fight. It's one that certainly you don't want to blink at, and I think Dave's got a great chance. Campbell Mendy, again, great fight. The first one was a great fight. Mendy had a shock win last time, but has had some brilliant wins since. The winner is mandatory for Mikey Garcia, so you may get a vacant title shot as well. Must win for Campbell, absolute must win for Campbell. I think we have 6 Olympians on the card, 5 medalists, 3 gold medalists, a silver medalist in Giasov, bronze medalist in Price. So it's going to be a great night.
Just last word on Price Povetkin. Obviously added Price versus Kuzmin, beg your pardon. Added to the card quite late. Last time we saw him in the ring was a bad knockout for David Price. What do you say to fans who are potentially worried about him stepping into the ring with another puncher like Kuzmin?
David Price is stepping in the ring with a 12-0 relative pro novice. He's not, although he knocked Joe Joyce out in the amateurs, he's not renowned for being a huge puncher, but they can all punch. But every fight you step into carries risk. And David Price knows what he's doing. You know, obviously he's getting a lot of money for this fight, but beyond the money, it's the opportunity to win this fight and break onto the world scene. So good luck to him.
Okay, and just lastly, Eddie, I want to ask you 3 fights and want a yes or no whether or not they're going to happen in December. Khan-Brook. Yes or no?
No. Only because it might happen a bit later, but December, if I had to give one at the moment, I would say no.
Mayweather-Pacquiao 2?
No.
Canelo versus another?
No.
Okay, Eddie Hearn.
That went well.
Not bad, yeah. Eddie Hearn, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Look forward to catching up with you soon.